In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life. You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit gearhandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
I am Rachel Ruth Tate, and this is Text Astrology. Hello and good day to y'all. This is Rachel Ruth Tate coming to you once again from Waco, the heart of Texas. And this is the third episode of the Text Astrology podcast. First of all, thank all of you for tuning in as we get this podcast off the ground. The Rogue Media Network team and I are truly grateful for your open ears, hearts, and minds. Some of you have been posting stories with your reactions to the show and tagging me at Rachel Ruth Tate and at Text Astrology, and that is crazy awesome and so appreciated. If you love the episodes, please share them, tag me, and trust I cannot wait to repost them and highlight your testimony. The study of the stars may be ancient stuff, but this is a brand new podcast. So all the early support is incredible. Thank y'all so much. Now, on to what you came for. This week, we are talking about the full moon in Capricorn, happening the 13th of July at 1:38 p.m. Central Standard Time at 21 degrees of Capricorn. Before we jump into this specific lunation, let's just refresh ourselves a bit on what actually makes a full moon. The lunar cycle itself, the apparent waxing and waning of the moon, occurs because of the changing relative positions of the sun, moon, and earth, not because the moon is literally changing shape before our eyes. The moon orbits around the earth, right? And so the side of it facing the sun is always lit up and visible. Basically, the full moon happens when the sun and moon oppose each other in the sky, allowing the maximum amount of the sun's light to be reflected off the face of the moon in the evening. Essentially, the full moon occurs when the moon has moved in its orbit so that the earth is placed directly between the moon and the sun. Well, then why doesn't every full moon result in an eclipse if the earth is actually between the moon and the sun, you ask? Because the moon's orbit has a slight tilt, about 5 degrees, so we only get lunar eclipses when the earth's shadow is lined up perfectly to obscure the light of the full moon, which happens a couple of times a year when the orbital plane of the earth intersects the orbit of the moon, and boom, there you go. Anyway, we have no such happenings this month. The full moon in Capricorn is just a regular old full moon, except for the fact that this full moon will occur with the moon orbiting closer to the Earth than any other full moon of 2022, making it what we call a super moon. Supermoons look bigger and brighter than other full moons because of their proximity to the Earth. The closer you are, the bigger you appear. And in this full moon in Capricorn's case, it will look almost a full 10% larger than typical full moons. And it will be a bit lower in the sky, closer to the horizon. So take a peek outside when it happens and see if your eye can perceive the difference. Now, back to the astrology. So, Capricorn, the sign in which this full moon happens, is the 10th sign in the zodiac. All the even-numbered signs are considered yin, or receptive, female, or nocturnal, as opposed to all of the odd-numbered zodiac signs, which are considered yang, or assertive, male, or diurnal. Pretty nifty, right? I'm trying to help us get a handle on what's happening and the logic underlying the zodiac, and that's actually very Capricorn. That said, Capricorn is also an earth sign, meaning it refers to solid matter. It can be a handy trick to overlay the 4 states of matter, solids, liquids, gases, and plasmas, on top of the 4 elements of the zodiac, earth, water, air, and fire, when trying to understand them. There is a one-to-one correspondence. So to synthesize, all of the even-numbered yin signs will also be of the earth and water elements exclusively, because those states of matter are lower energy and can be mediums that hold or are able to receive other matter. Contrast that with the odd-numbered yang signs, which will be of the air or fire elements only, because those states of matter are literally higher energy and tend to change or react with other matter. So Capricorn at number 10 in zodiacal order is of the yin persuasion, and it's an earth sign. It is the 3rd of the earth signs in the zodiac, the first 2 being Taurus, fixed earth, which does not move, and Virgo, mutable earth, which can move in all directions, and that makes Capricorn a cardinal earth sign. Earth which moves in a singular direction, like in the cardinal directions of a compass. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the greater malefic, or the challenge of civilization. And when I say malefic, I need you to know that Saturn isn't a bad planet. That term and the planet's significations simply reference the places in which we are constrained and contained by our membership in society, or the social burdens we bear in order to be social creatures. To better understand the nature of Saturn, we can bring to mind the myth of Cronus, the Titan son of Ouranos and Gaia, heaven and earth, who had to castrate his father with a sickle in order to secure his own escape from the detention of his mother Gaia's womb, and to free his many Titan siblings from the same predicament. Saturn's rings are reminiscent of that sharp scythe and serve to illustrate the bondage or containment brought about by our social contracts and membership in the collective. Moving on from the mythology, Capricorn is the first of Saturn's 2 signs, the second being Aquarius, the 11th and next in zodiacal order. Saturn is the only planet to have 2 home signs, or domiciles, placed sequentially in the zodiac, which underscores the patience required to deal with that sometimes lengthy issues and extended trials that arise within human civilization and within the human life. In the northern hemisphere, the sun's ingress into Capricorn in late December marks the winter solstice, and the subsequent sun in Aquarius period in January and February corresponds with the height of the winter season. And as we know up here, mid-December through mid-February features some of the coldest days of the year. Saturn asks us to go without, to wait out the weather, to practice the patience of paucity, and to stay the difficult course, as well as to accept the harsh realities of death and suffering. The adjective saturnine in English literally means slow and gloomy, or cold and steady. Circling back, Capricorn is Saturn's yin sign. Its cardinal earth nature represents the structure of society that we exist within, which is always being moved forward in the great march of time and progressing in its embodied form and physical composition. All living things evolve, and in a Darwinian sense, the strong survive. Saturn, as the last visible planet in the sky with the naked eye, also represents lengthier natural cycles. A human lifespan, for example, is not short. It can last a century or more, and in that time period, Saturn would only complete 3 full journeys around the wheel of the zodiac, each of which takes 29 years. You may have heard people talk about their Saturn returns, especially millennials going through their own these days. And to clarify, in doing so, they are referencing Saturn returning to the sign in which it was present when they were born, which tends to correspond with reaching real adult maturity the first time it happens, honest middle age the second time, and the sunset of life the third go around, if we are so blessed. Beyond the human life, Capricorn also pertains to that which Saturn or society builds or manifests in an even more lasting way. There is still vast evidence of human construction's past being uncovered by archaeologists all over the globe. And we as a species have the ability to create things that outlast us as individuals, especially when they are set in stone, so to speak. Think about the great castles of Europe that remain, the pyramids, and shoot, Moses himself came down off the holy mountain with some stone tablets, or the Old Testament, that still influences much of the world's social and religious practices to this day. Saturn stuff for sure. Speaking of mountains, Capricorn's zodiacal symbol is a cross between a mountain goat and a fish, or a sea goat, if you will, calling to mind our own literal evolution from fish to mammal. Living things had to spring from the sea in order to become more complex and benefit from the plants and fruits of the earth. Mountains also exist underwater, and as we talked about last episode with the new moon in Cancer, the Earth's water is mobile and hasn't always been in the same places. So too have we had to migrate from parched land to hospitable shore and back again. Speaking of, the pyramids of present-day Egypt are an awesome illustration of that. Man-made mountains built in what used to be a fertile river valley with a robust and technically advanced civilization. Global climate change has us unfortunately living through some similar events. Life has to be resourceful, like the mountain goat, and move in sync, like a school of fish, to sustain itself. The sea goat symbol of Saturn says, "This too shall pass," and the only way out of anything is through it. We must adapt or perish. The moon in Capricorn requires material change from us, making movement towards our goals and evolution above all things. This full moon in Capricorn really does highlight the necessity of being progressive and the requirement of overcoming obstacles to achieve transcendence. What would we rise above or transcend if there were no impediments to our success? This Saturn-ruled moon asks us to both do hard things as individuals and to accept the hurdles we face as a human race, as the two are linked. As above, so below, they say. In that spirit, maybe we can ask ourselves, what are my greatest personal challenges right now? And am I taking steps to change the historical issues I've had in my life? As well as, what would success actually look like for me in the context of the current social paradigm? It's also paramount to ask, how am I supported by the current civilization I'm a part of in this time and place? In addition to, how is my membership in public life a hindrance to my goals personally, which often comes up more easily to our naturally negatively biased minds? It's the human condition. And Saturn is the Eeyore of planets, if you will. Anyway, interestingly for us as diurnal humans, meaning we are awake during the day for the most part and we sleep at night, the apex of this full moon in Capricorn will happen in North America during the height of the day, and the moon will be below the horizon, opposing the sun that will be directly overhead near the center of the sky, which in astrology we call the mid-heaven. Those planetary bodies which are below the horizon in most astrological traditions typically reference or refer to the internal or private. This makes a great lunation to ask, what deeply rooted, rarely discussed personal problems am I ready and willing to work with at this time? Now we get to the rough stuff, the bad news. Capricorn is actually the sign of the moon's adversity or detriment. Capricorn is cold and intense, which the traditional self-care and nurturing mechanisms of the moon don't function optimally within. Cap moons are difficult to deal with because the emotional doesn't always fit into a logical, sturdy, and progressive form. Love is often beyond reason. It's intangible and ineffable, and Capricorn understandably likes things concrete. So if this syzygy, this full moon, finds you or your social groups having a hard time, that's absolutely par for the course. To work with this laborious lunation requires discipline and patience with yourself and others. Not everything we build in our lives is meant to last, and sometimes we have to accept less than we wished or hoped for. That's just reality, and Capricorn is a realist. Saturn asks us to make only real commitments too, no flaking on ourselves, and requests we do our due diligence in all things, including in cleaning up any physical messes we've made or organizing any emotional disarray we've found inside our hearts or minds that will prevent us from making that psychosocial progress required for honestly leveling up. Capricorn is all about the solid and strategic plan, so make sure your head is on straight and you're ready for whatever comes your way. I don't mean to throw a wet blanket on your hopes for a swell summer. These next 2 weeks, we just have to be on our game and earnestly trying our best to be better, even if it seems like everybody around us is lacking in the integrity department. Saturn rewards good students, staying the course, and honest, hard workers doing the damn thing. That all being said, while we let that somewhat arduous full moon astrology settle, I'll summarize for you what each individual sign can expect going forward for the next 2 weeks. Before I do, as I say in each episode, you can elect to find your specific sign several ways. One can use their sun, moon, or rising sign. I tend to prefer the use of a person's rising sign or ascendant when applying forecasts or working with horoscopes in traditional Hellenistic astrology, which I practice. One's rising sign is said to provide information about the physical self, personal experience, and individual personality, giving what I believe is the most applicable reading in this context. That said, you can also use your sect light sign, which is your sun sign if you were born while the sun was above the horizon, or your moon sign if you were born after sunset. The birth sign you already know is likely your sun sign, which is the focus of most modern astrology. So go to your app store, download Time Passages, Time Nomad, CoStar, or any of the other applications, and you can find all three of those signs for you. I also use cafeastrology.com, choosing the whole sign houses option for house division, which is another topic for another time, if you don't want to download anything. You will need your exact time, date, and place of birth to receive your true ascendant sign. That all said, here is a succinct and optimistic version of what this full moon in Capricorn will mean for each sign. Aries, professional and social advancement. Professional and social advancement. Taurus, philosophical and public headway. Philosophical and public headway. Gemini, intimate and spiritual progress. Intimate and spiritual progress. Cancer, partnership and collaborative boosts. Partnership and collaborative boosts. Leo, mundane and interpersonal enrichment. Mundane and interpersonal enrichment. Virgo, creative and work-oriented improvement. Creative and work-oriented improvement. Libra, psychological and pleasurable breakthroughs. Psychological and pleasurable breakthroughs. Scorpio, connective and personal betterment. Connective and personal betterment. Sagittarius, financial and environmental development. Financial and environmental development. Capricorn, tangible and individual upgrades. Tangible and individual upgrades. Aquarius, physical and non-physical amelioration. Physical and non-physical amelioration. Pisces, psychospiritual and communal growth. Psychospiritual and communal growth. Let those ideas percolate as we take a little intermission. There is always more astrology after our quick mid-episode break, so get yourself ready to keep rolling, snag a small snack, jot down your thoughts, and do whatever else you wish while we take in a potential word from our sponsors.
You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit gearhandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
Hello again, y'all. Now we will shift slightly and move on from the full moon info into an exploration of my top 3 important transits or planetary movements to pay attention to over the next 2 weeks of this lunar cycle. Number 1, Venus enters Cancer on Sunday, July 17th at 8:28 p.m. Central Standard Time, and that lasts for about a month until August 12th, 2022. Venus in Cancer. So the immortal lyrics by Bananarama go, goddess on the mountaintop, burning like a silver flame, the summit of beauty and love, and Venus was her name. As the song suggests, the second closest planet to the sun does indeed represent our personal desire, our experience of beauty, and the nature of our love and individual aesthetic. Venus, the Roman goddess, too, has a Greek analog, Aphrodite. So you can overlay all you know about her mythology onto our planetary neighbor Venus. Her etymological imprint is plain to see in the often used English word aphrodisiac, or something that increases desire, attraction, or sexual pleasure. The planet Venus heads into a new sign, Cancer, just a few days after the full moon in Capricorn, transitioning into Cancer, the sign directly opposite Capricorn in the zodiac, Cancer being the so-called sister sign of Capricorn, as they share a modality. They are both cardinal or directional in the nature of their motion, and both yin or feminine in their elements of water and earth, respectively. While Capricorn is ruled by the cold, austere planet of Saturn, Cancer is the wet, watery home sign of the moon, as we discussed in depth last episode, when the new moon was itself in Cancer. Venus does well in the sign, as she is one of the triplicity rulers of water signs, or one of the group of planetary and luminary bodies that have dominion over the three signs of a given element, or their triplicity. As both the moon and Venus tend to have feminine connotations across the majority of civilizations and mythologies as well, it stands to reason that one feminine archetype would operate well within the other. Many qualities we like in a mother, the moon, we would enjoy in a wife or a sister, Venus. Cancer is a sign of female protection and respite, like the shell of the crab, its zodiacal symbol. Venus in Cancer is, at its finest, about nurture, true care and investment, and the giving of life, like motherhood itself. While the planet of love and beauty traverses this territory, we may find ourselves called to provide emotional or physical refuge to those we love, and we may experience the desire to heal and restore ourselves and our families in some way. One of Cancer's superpowers is its generative and regenerative ability. Use this Venus in Cancer time to locate any places or spaces within yourself that ache or call out for your attention, and let the flowing waters of this feminine salve mend you. Be mindful that others may ask for or require that soothing balm as well, and be prepared to extend that cleansing and genuine care outwards without taking things personally, getting your feelings hurt, or shutting down, which is also Venus in Cancer stuff. Remember, physical contact and emotional reinforcement are paramount for the healthy bonding and attachment of human infants to their mothers, and we as adults are just larger humans. That skin-to-skin contact and psychological reassurance of sustained attention are just as important to us now as they ever were, especially post-pandemic, if that's even where we are, or during stressful, emotional, or uncertain times. This Venus in Cancer transit can be a very interesting time to bring focus to your own attachment style. Like, are you generally secure in your being, feeling safe within the containers of your intimate relations? Or do you find yourself anxious in relationships, ruminating on how you connect with friends, family, and lovers? Or perhaps you tend to be more avoidant within the context of interpersonal interaction, preferring not to spend time or energy pouring into your relationships. We create these imprints early, before we're even conscious of them. And like my teacher, Austin Kopic, pointed out on July's episode of the Astrology podcast, Our Cancer placements, which are our natal planets in that sign, they also form their impressions in our youth while we were still attached to our mothers, orbiting them like moons. It can be helpful to ask during these Venus and Cancer weeks, what about my established patterns in relationship could use a refresh? Or what from the past triggers me to shut down during intimate interactions? And how can I begin to get out of my shell, so to speak, and move past it? Venus in Cancer is about healing at its core, which is one of the most beautiful things that we imperfect creatures can do here on Earth. Second transit. Mercury enters Leo on Tuesday, July 19th at 7:32 a.m. Central Standard Time, staying in that sign for just a hot couple weeks until August 5th. Mercury is the fastest moving planet, as it is the closest to the sun and has the shortest orbital period. And its swift pace around the zodiac reflects the ever-changing nature of our thought forms and ideas. The adjective mercurial literally means subject to sudden or unpredictable changes in mood or mind. The small planet named for the Roman god Mercury, who shares much mythology with the Greek god Hermes, takes just 88 days to orbit the entire zodiac, spending an average of just a few weeks in each sign. What's more, Mercury also boasts the greatest number of yearly retrograde periods, or apparent backward motions, which, with 3 to 4 yearly retrogrades, it can potentially spend over 2 months in a single sign, meaning it's variable. And its variability and frequent retrograde redos speak again to the workings of the human mind and our own fluid moods and constantly churning thought patterns. Both of Mercury's own home signs, Gemini and Virgo, are mutable in their modality, or they're able to move in all directions. Flexible, adaptable, changing. All of Mercury's significations or meanings refer to things subject to change, like expression, commerce, information sharing, travel. Mercury governs whatever and wherever people can exchange. That said, Mercury enters Leo on July 19th, which is the 5th sign in the zodiac, symbolized by the noble lion. Leo is a fixed fire sign, and signs of the fixed modality are by definition unmoving. Who is going to move a lion anyway? So Leo is way less mobile or versatile than Mercury's own preferred parts of the sky. Leo is the home sign of the sun, though, which literally anchors our solar system with its constant light, gravity, heat, and energy. With Mercury in Leo, look for mental illumination and honorable intention at best, or self-righteous intellectual obstinacy and self-important laziness at worst. The sun, in context of the astrology and of the individual, speaks to the self, or the energy of personhood and personality, which tends not to change or shift drastically over time, even if our location, profession, community, family, or other features of our identity do. During this Mercury in Leo period, we will perhaps be more self-oriented in our thinking and communication, which can be highly useful for both promotion and self-development, so we can ideally use this transit to do any requisite personal improvement work or meditation on how to achieve our goals in the world while remaining true to ourselves. However, be careful to avoid close-mindedness, conceit, or narcissism, as that's never a good look, and Leo likes to look good. Instead, use this time to shine in whatever way is authentically yours to glow. Mercury in Leo can also give the most amazing compliments, but make sure they're genuine when you do, and you're certain to make the recipient radiate. As Maya Angelou, a Leo rising herself, famously said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And Mercury in Leo has the power to make people feel like $1,000,000. So during this transit, make your art, dress yourself up, speak your truth, feel good about who you are, and connect with people who light you up. These few weeks will feature more constantly available mental energy and perhaps even some time in the spotlight, if that's your prerogative. And Mercury in Leo is definitely about its own prerogatives. Third transit. The Sun will join Mercury in Leo, entering the sign on Friday, July 22nd at 3:02 p.m. Central Standard Time, and staying there for its typical interval, remaining in Leo until August 23rd. Luckily, we've just been addressing the sign of Leo. And also, very fortunately, Leo is the home sign and preferred place of the Sun, making for some very solid solar or personal and collective life force energy over the next month. Quite literally, Sun in Leo season from July 22nd to August 23rd every year occupies the height of the summer in the Northern Hemisphere, and many of us are enjoying warm days and the unique quantity of free personal time available to many Earth dwellers called summer vacation, in whatever form that takes. Remember, the Sun represents the vital life force energy of the embodied self in astrology, and we tend to find ourselves fully physically liberated from the chill of the cold and free from the hard literal labors of spring cleaning, fall harvest, or winter hibernation. But the Sun in Leo can also burn us, as is evidenced by the extreme heat present in some places north of the equator during the daylight hours of midsummer. A midsummer night may be a dream, but a midsummer day can be desiccating, dehydrating us in its parching heat. While the Sun is in Leo, it can be an interesting exercise to ask yourself, what in my life is thirsty, and why is that? The nature of living desire is the intense, and survival is a high priority. Leo always strives to win recognition and satisfaction, which can be a beautiful thing when wants are noble from a place of loving instinct. But those wants can easily become burning desires that may drive one to extremes. At best, we can use the month of the Sun in Leo to become the finest versions of ourselves, boldly wielding the courage and conviction it can take to be true to yourself against fierce opposition. The Sun in Leo stands for, well, most of what Hogwarts Gryffindor stands for, like chivalry, bravery, nerve, and determination. So don't hesitate to stand up for yourself when necessary, or embody the confidence of a superstar while the Sun is in its home sign. But be careful not to take it too far. Arrogance is not attractive. The symbol of the constellation of Leo is the lion, and a group of lions is actually called a pride, reminding us that dignity is a powerful thing and also that the bite of egotism can be vicious. Just relax your jaws and let people take in your joyful light without giving in to the urge to boast or brag, especially while Mercury is also in Leo. Because remarkable people and things will by definition be remarked upon. Praise and attention are fulfilling, but pomposity and pretense aren't the way to go about getting them. No playing pretend during Sun in Leo season. Just be yourself. It can be helpful to ask the question, what are my true values and personal priorities? And how am I actively embodying them on a daily basis? Let that question simmer on the back burner since it's a big one that may have to reduce down for a while before the answer is ready to be served. So how about we move on to some simpler stuff and summarize the upcoming quality of time in a few words. These next couple of weeks will be edifying, intense, inspiring, enlightening, and formidable. Don't be intimidated. Let's go over some simple do's and don'ts for this particular lunar cycle. Do find fulfillment and satisfaction in honorable undertakings and earnest, hard efforts. Don't try to take on more than you can honestly handle to please, meet others' expectations, or prove yourself, so to speak. Do pursue personal development and employ self-improvement strategies that will help you level up. Don't become so self-absorbed that you neglect those you truly care about or lose sight of the bigger picture. Do intentionally take great care of your heart, mind, body, and spirit during these challenging times, as we are all healing from something. Don't shut down when things are difficult, become entirely wrapped up in your own story, or be blinded to the present by past pain. And last but not least, what makes the ideal companion to planetary cycles? Healing crystals, of course. Your local friendly astrologer gemhead, myself, recommends garnet, a deep green or red stone that assists us in connecting to our bodies and the body of the earth, helping us to release anxiety and accept joy and abundance of being that is our birthright. Wear it as a ring on the left hand or receptive hand for best results. Citrine, the warm golden form of crystal quartz, augmented with iron that is famous for its amplification of the personal will and enhancement of the ability to manifest, especially creatively. Make your dreams a literal reality by placing a citrine tower at your bedside. If you're in Waco, head to Utopia Essentials as they have plenty citrine towers in stock. Lapis lazuli, a deep blue stone with inclusions of white and gold, prized for most of human history, especially by the Egyptians, whose name literally means blue stone. Lapis aids in upright communication and the development of inner awareness and personal sovereignty. It can literally help break generational curses or disrupt painful patterns. If you've got any of that going on, wear lapis on both ears as earrings and let the crystals go to work on what's between them. Regardless of your opinion on the efficacy of crystal healing, the practice is a tool if you find it works for you. Gemstones carry within them a much more constant frequency than we do, as the atoms and subatomic particles composing the solid matter of stones move at a much more regular and slower rate than those within our higher energy bodies, which contain lots of liquid and gas. Let Mother Earth aid you if you're open to it, just like with astrology. That's it for this episode, folks. Meet me here every full and new moon for more cosmic wisdom. For now, you can find me on Instagram at Rachel Ruth Tate and at Tex Astrology, or between the pages of my book, Meditations on Being, available on Amazon and wherever else you purchase books.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life.